Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I am Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right over there, that's John, your resident millennial. As always, hanging, banging, being the
That's
man with the
right.
plan, all that other fun
I don't know about
stuff.
the plan part. That
Uh,
sounds like you're a bit presumptuous, doesn't it?
does it? Does it make me
Pretty
sound
sure I
presumptuous?
don't have a plan.
Well, if you don't have a plan,
And
and I don't have a plan,
oh shit,
we're
is there no plan?
we're screwed.
Fuck.
We're just screwed. There's no plan. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I thought you were taking care of the plan.
We're gonna have to fight this war with no plan. What the fuck, John?
Damn, man. Yeah, we suck.
So, how was your weekend, John?
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know. Um,
Do you want to
got
share your trauma?
I do. Um, I I endured the new Star Wars movie. I endured it. Um, did not enjoy it, but I did endure it. I stayed there for the whole thing. I took the entire thing. So I'm proud of myself for that. At the same time, fuck. They
So,
ruined, ruined Star Wars.
so how did you say what did you say? What was the very first thing you said about the movie? You endured.
I endured it. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to minimize what you said by saying you have no idea what endured was, because I went along to that with you
Yes.
under
Yeah.
duress
Yeah.
to a
It's
certain
true.
degree, under duress.
Yeah.
And John, 30 minutes before the movie ended, where was I?
You were outside smoking a cigarette.
For how long?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. At least the last half hour, right?
Yeah,
Like you
until
didn't
you
come back
guys were
in.
ready to
Yeah.
get the go, right? I
Yeah.
left the theater. I did. Yeah. So that was I endured most of that movie, and yeah,
Yeah.
you wanted to go see it. I couldn't. I couldn't.
No, 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 no. Want is a strong word. I didn't want to go and see it. I was compelled to go and see it. I was required to go and see it as a Star Wars fan.
Whatever.
I had no other choice.
No, sir. I'm a Star Wars fan. A true Star Wars
No, you're not.
fan has seen 6 movies. So I'm almost a true Star Wars fan.
Oh my god.
So we got people in the chat, John. We got Jake from Freedom Scoop, and
No, fuck that guy.
apparently he believes that Epstein didn't kill himself. But
Wow,
what does
just
he know?
conspiracy theorists all
I
around.
see Ed there. Ed has a plan.
But wait, so
Epstein didn't kill himself, but John's plan did. Nice. I like that.
yeah, my lack of plan, I guess, did.
Jake likes
Jake
our
loves our setup. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
We got to give.
I'm glad I thought of it.
I say we give props to our tech guy.
Yes, you're
We'll make
welcome.
sure and give some
Anytime.
shouts out to him. We got Midget B in the chat and Cameron Michael as well.
Yes.
I've lowered my original ROS score from 4 out of 10 to 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
By switching, I wish I had insured my $50 for this movie. Yes.
Right.
Well, if you had listened to the 13%, you might. I could have
Wow.
told you what to expect from that movie before you ever went. Oh, I'm sorry. I did tell you what to expect.
I went in knowing it was going to be terrible. I just didn't understand exactly the amount of just garbage that this movie was. I mean, because I avoided all the spoilers, all the reviews that people were doing because I wanted to go into it without any preconceived notions other than the fact that it was a Disney Star Wars movie.
Um,
But yeah,
I feel dirty having gone to that movie. I feel like
yeah.
I condoned rape.
You no, you didn't just condone it. You sat there and watched it happen and did nothing.
I walked away before the money shot.
I mean, I guess.
I entered a state of protest at one point. Hey, in my defense, the only reason I was there was because I didn't want to give up a day of camaraderie with my normal Saturday gang. It's
Yeah,
my one day a week to spend with my friends. And unfortunately, all of my friends were going to go see this steaming pile.
you should probably get better friends then.
Yeah, yeah, I shouldn't hang out. I shouldn't hang out with whack job Star Wars fans these days.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, see, Cameron is, he's right there with it. He wishes he insured that. Yeah, and I mean, I get it. It's no fun having your illusion shattered. But I mean, selling Lucasfilms to Disney.
Yeah.
That with you as good as that was the death knell right there. I mean, everybody knew it. Everybody should have known.
Yeah, no, I mean, I even said it back then. As soon as it happened, I was like, "Oh no, they're gonna ruin Star Wars."
Yeah, I said this is the end of it.
Yeah,
I mean, I wasn't. I wasn't too thrilled that it even the second trilogy that they put out. I wasn't thrilled by how formulaic it was, but I was like, it's Lucas. Yeah, I could see this repetitiveness, this being a cycle to a certain
you're talking about
extent,
the
right?
prequel,
The first,
prequels.
yeah, 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
right?
See, I actually liked those, and I will
Yes.
continue to defend
Oh,
those.
I will always.
Yeah.
But when it was given to Disney, I'm like, no, 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 no. You're going to do something far worse than
Yeah.
Lucas's mind still needed to be there for Star Wars. It needed to be his creation. It needed to be him,
Yeah.
and they destroyed it.
Not only that, but his stories. I mean, every book that was written had to be approved by him in order to be published, which means that it followed the canon. And it was all things that
Hmm.
would have happened in those movies if he had made it.
Yeah, I don't
You
like
know,
the new canon. No.
yeah, new canon is garbage, absolutely garbage. And that's the worst part is there's so much expanded universe that Disney had their pick, and people would have been happy because one, they're great stories, and two, the hardcore Star Wars fans would be like, "Oh shit, you're making a movie out of this book I love, or this trilogy of books that I love." You know what I mean? But nope. Instead, they just shit all over that, say that's no longer canon, and
Right.
now we're gonna do this nonsense.
Well,
This absolute garbage story.
see, and they keep painting themselves into a corner too. I mean, you know, you can't you can't keep ending the threat and then just regurgitate the same story where the same threat rises using basically
Yeah.
the same equipment just in a different form at a different period in time and run three garbage movies and call that the next part of the story. Because I mean, where do they go now after this one? Where do you go? You've got to flounder to find some storyline to create. Well, look at what they're doing. They've got the Mandalorian, and I know that you're a fan of the Mandalorian. You do well. You
Yeah.
like it, right? I don't know, fan or just like
I no, I like it a lot. It's actually really well made, really good. It's actually a good storyline. It's what Star Wars is supposed to be. That's what the Mandalorian is. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they couldn't have done that before.
well, because and because of the response that you get. I believe somebody posted a meme from it. I think might have been Midget in Discord, and it was very. It was all these people that are like, oh, 19 minutes and so many seconds into The Mandalorian before we see
Mm,
our first female character.
yeah,
What? That's what's important to you. If
right,
that's what you're watching for, if you're watching to see female characters, go watch Charmed. Go watch,
right. Well,
Buffy
I
the
mean, it's kind of
Vampire
like
Slayer. Don't watch a show called The Mandalorian. you
right.
know?
Yeah, and it kind of speaks to like the SJW crowd as a whole and what kind of entertainment they choose. If you look at like quote unquote woke comedy and things like that, it's not about making you laugh anymore. It's about getting applause instead of laughs. So I'm going to tell you something you want to hear, and then people are like, "Yay, I like that," but it's not funny. They're not getting laughs. It's the same thing with movies and television. It's about how many women there are, how strong are they, how many people of color, especially women of color, are there. That means it's a good show, not whether the writing is good, whether the acting is good, cinematography is good. None of that matters. It just has to check the boxes, the intersectional boxes, and that's it.
Let me. I'm curious about something. As you know, this question just came to mind, and Disney is a perfect example to be the trendsetter for this. Um, do you think it's possible that Disney is going to go away from trying to make uh, theater blockbusters, because that's not necessarily where the money is anymore?
I mean, they've
Like,
always made blockbusters.
right. I mean,
I don't think that's going to go away. I think they might change their tact, but I don't think they're going to stop doing it
well,
completely.
now that they've got the streaming network, so now they can create stuff like The Mandalorian. So basically, I mean, if you watch The Mandalorian, it's like watching a Star Wars movie, but at home, right? And we can get
Hmm.
screens big enough to make us feel like we're in a fucking movie theater now, on the relative cheap. So, you know,
Yeah.
is Disney? I'm just wondering because I'm going to watch to see how much of the Marvel tack they take on the streaming network versus movies, and how much of the Star Wars, all these franchises they've been sucking up. You notice they're grabbing a lot
Hmm.
of them to become this conglomerate. How much they're going to start putting on the streaming networks and maybe lean away from as many blockbuster movies, because for instance, Star Wars. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, you are getting a fan base off of these movies, but it's not the same. It's not I don't think it's the money generator that it could have been for them, because the consensus there's a strong consensus that they're becoming derivative, and
Oh, like becoming.
well, yeah, well, even I guess I should say, even amongst those that aren't already true believers, they're starting to get a sense of the derivative nature of them. They're starting to see the pandering, as they watch
Hmm.
it and realize that they're watching and noticing it more and
What's
more.
the problem? The problem is a lot of people want the pandering. They're just like, yes, please pander to me. That's all I want. That's what makes it a good show or not, or a good movie or not, or whatever it is. Just pandering to me. That's all I want. Just I don't know. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Now, Midget makes a good point. He says Bob Iger said films would slow down, but that shows in other media might translate to new films. Because yes, that is
Hmm.
a springboard question, is using the streaming network productions to springboard movies off of. So, for instance, The Mandalorian, if it gains enough popularity from the streaming series, pop out a movie, put out a
No, I hope they don't, because that's going to ruin it.
well, that does, how it's received and how it does, is nothing about. It says nothing about the plan that they have to try and do it. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
that seems like a logical risk to me to take, because well, you take a page from something like Saturday Night Live, right? How many
Yeah.
movies have bounced out of Saturday Night Live with various stars? Will Ferrell has made himself pretty well, done pretty well with that. Um, Chris Farley did great with that for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of different actors. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. Um, it's the kind of thing that you wonder, okay, is that the playbooks that they're going to go with, like Midget says? Movies that'll springboard off shows that they're putting out on the streaming
Yeah.
networks. It's a risk to take. Yeah, maybe 5 years from now they're like, oh, well, that didn't work out so well.
But what I find really interesting is with Disney and people that they cast in movies, or people that they do for TV shows, whatever it is, that if you're working for or with Disney, like they actually are really restrictive on your behavior, and they make sure that you're not like some sort of, super controversial figure before they'll work with you, right? But what's really interesting is Bill Burr was actually in one of the episodes of The Mandalorian, and it was actually a really good episode, and I think he did a really good job because the character that he played suited Bill Burr very well. But yeah, no, it was just really weird that he was allowed to be anywhere near a Disney lot, you know.
Right.
But so I wonder if they're trying to kind of move away from that like squeaky clean image. But and yes, what Mitch B saying, I saw an article about that very old Republic era film in the works now. I'm both excited about that because the Old Republic era is amazing. However, it's also Disney doing it, and they're gonna fucking ruin it.
Here's my only problem with with all of that, because in the Star Wars universe, this is what hurts their prequel situations. You go back further in time in the universe, yet the technology seems so much more advanced
Right.
than anything that comes after it. Like, and that is something that they don't really seem to take into account. They try to, I guess I see it sometimes they attempt to, but they really don't. Like, especially like this lightsabers. Lightsabers are a good example of how they like, oh, how can we make one the next cool fancy? Oh, we'll give it a hilt. We'll give it a, an energy hilt. They take them to different levels, and it's like, really? So this was going on, and that was going on in this timeline. You go back and look at the first six. 1, 2, and 3 looked a whole lot more advanced than 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, technologically, but I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that.
Yeah.
With like the Empire, and then obviously the Rebels would have lesser technology,
Eh,
much older technology. Due to them having to throw shit together, try and
listen,
make it.
that just all becomes a bunch of stuff like trying to justify the Bible. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
no, I mean, absolutely. That's obviously people just oh, we have to find some way, like, making it fit what already exists,
Right.
obviously.
Right. And I
But
get that. But it just,
but
I
I
think,
mean, if the explanation works, I can forgive it.
but I think another thing that is that's going to hurt them, is that the movies can be put out so quickly now. So, for instance, you look at something like The Mandalorian. It's not a low production value series, right?
Right,
But a
right.
lot of it is CGI, right? How far we've come with CGI. You need very few actors. You just need voices for a lot of the stuff that you do, especially in an alien and inclusive storyline.
Yeah.
So you can produce these movies so quickly now. Used to, when you thought about a sequel, it's like, oh, it's going to be 3, 5 years before we see a sequel for something. When the
Yeah.
sequels first started. Now it's like, oh, you take something, Lord of the Rings, boom, one a year. But he filmed it all at one time. But now we're even faster. We can produce these high value things. The Star Wars movies have come out too fast, so that
Hmm.
derivative nature is much more exposed, in my opinion, because you're seeing it so back to back to back to back to back to back. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just personal opinion, but I think that factors into it. Um,
Well, yeah, because they need to pump them out instead of like taking their time on it, making sure it's going to be good, that sort of thing. They're just kind of, all right, just make sure it gets out on time.
well, have you really ever sat back, and this is just one of those three tokes in thoughts. Um, just the sheer volume of movies and series and everything, all sorts of entertainment media coming out for, all the original stuff coming out on all the different streaming networks, not to mention all the networks, all the cable networks. I mean, think about the large scale amount of stuff that we are filming and producing in this country on a daily basis. It is mind-boggling to think about when you look at what you have available to watch at any given time and how quickly things are coming out. Uh oh. Michael Vega's in the house. What the
Everyone shut
fuck?
up. He's here. He's here. Stop talking about him.
Was I just redacted? Has he been? Did somebody redact him?
Are you redacted? Don't be redacted, Michael
Are
Vega.
you in?
Knock it off.
Are you in? Are you in? What is it? What is the other chat called? Are you in live chat or in the other chat?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
see anything from you before WTF. Was I?
Yeah, I don't see anything else from you.
Oh, did you say something that maybe the all chat pulled out of there? Because I'm in live chat. I don't see anything.
Nope. I don't know. But anyway, yes, Michael Vega, you're here and welcome and all that.
But anyway, no, it's. I think we've got a glut of entertainment media, and some. Is it a bubble? Would it be a bubble that's forming? Something's got to give. Something's got to break. There's just so much of it now. We're locked onto our screens. We're watching. Wait, I am. I don't know. I don't know how you walk away from it.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
redacted.
I do that, but with like audiobooks is mainly what I'm listening to. But yeah, sometimes, yeah, I mean, I'll watch shows at night. I'll put some stand-up comedy on Netflix or something, you know, smoke a little bit and pass out.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point that so much that I'm just like, unless it's just one of those, oh, I've been wanting to see it, or it's a must-have. Everybody is saying it's really great. I'm just like, I can't
See, I
decide
don't
on
believe
any. I
people when
can't
they say
decide
that.
on anything new to watch. I always wind up watching shit I've already seen.
Yeah, I've done that a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
And yes, Mr. P is absolutely right. Star Wars is way more important than World War III. I'm much
oh,
more offended by what Star Wars has become than that World War III is going to happen.
okay. I'm gonna put this out there about World War III. The funny thing is if a war starts in the Middle East, I think
There will be no more
I
Star
think it
Wars.
would just turn into.
Oh.
I think you would see a global brawl breakout. Basically, like people would be like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll get in a fight with this guy." It's like 15 different fights are going on in a barroom brawl, nothing to do with the very first start conflict that happened. I think everybody's
Right.
just like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it.
In fact, the guy who
Barroom brawl.
already, in fact, the guy who started the barroom brawl is already gone by the time the fight breaks out completely. So
Right.
the original guy's not even there anymore.
Right. So it's
That's
it's
right, Michael Vega. That's
um,
right, Michael Vega.
yes, I mean that's the irony that I see like playing out in all of this is that it's if something it does happen over there, it's going to start other bullshit that we're going to unfortunately feel obligated to stick our nose into, and then it will turn
No.
into some kind of conflict around the globe. I'm
Yeah.
not wholeheartedly behind that or say
No,
for
I mean, I
certain
don't.
that's going to happen. I could just see that playing out.
I don't think anything is gonna happen.
I don't either.
I think yeah.
I
I
mean,
think it's just a bunch of like I said on
well,
when we were on Edge show earlier. Which, by the way, we were on Edge show earlier.
J.
The link to
Edgar.
that is in our, yeah, the link to that is in our announcements on Discord. So check that out. But no, I was saying, what was I saying about the Iran and the whole "it's not going to happen" thing?
Yeah, you said it wasn't going to happen. Um,
Yeah,
and
but
then
I forget
you
what else I had said.
see, it's a
It's
you're.
there though. It's on video.
This
So
happens when you're three tokes in, folks.
yeah.
And
Or when you spent an
I
hour
would have
talking
had to
about
been paying
it already.
attention to you to remember it as well. So
Right.
um, I knew you,
That's
you
true.
you you interrupted the chain of thought and you threw the train off the track. So I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, I was trying to plug Ed's show.
Now you're
So,
saying I don't know. You're probably going to say something about we should get the fuck out. Oh yeah, we were saying on
well,
Edge.
yeah, that too.
What were you were pointing out something that was said on Edge show.
Yeah,
That
yeah, that's what I mean. I just
that
can't remember
triggered you.
exactly what it was now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's it's we're of the same mind though. We need to just get the fuck out and leave it alone, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we don't need to be over there. We don't need to be dealing with it. But I will say this, you know, I did point out that sometimes maybe we don't need to be so brash in how we're blustering to a such a chaotic group Whether it's Iraq or Iran, those guys are just kind of volatile enough to stop posturing and do something stupid. And that's what I don't want. I don't
Yeah.
want them to do something stupid that we have to
Oh, that's what
respond
it
to.
was. Yeah, that's what it was. I was talking about they're just having a dick measuring contest, and obviously America swings the bigger dick. So I don't think it's going to go any further than that.
Well, I mean, it is the Middle East. Any kind of dick swinging that becomes dick thumping could set off volatile chain reactions over there.
Yeah, that's what
So,
happens when you're small pee pee. You get mad, you know,
well, yeah, but
angry all the
you
time.
put enough small peepees together, and they can start thumping too. In the
Yeah.
area. Which is why I
Oh,
say we should just get all U.S.
right.
citizenry out of those
Flash our
countries.
huge dick and then get out
Yeah,
and watch them all get mad.
get out, leave the countries. Let's just hang out over here and ask them how much they want for their oil while they figure their own shit out.
Yep,
Figure your
exactly.
own stuff out. And maybe we can talk our president into not publicly destroying cars with generals in it. Maybe next time if you're going to do something like that, do it on the DL. Hey Nancy, shh.
Right. Shut your whore mouth. Yeah.
uh, it's one of those things. We just need to. Everybody just needs. Shh. Let's just leave. Let's just go home. This party's over, right? Just let them sort it
Yeah.
out. There's other chickens in that game. Let them fight over the fucking leftovers. I don't know. I don't want to be over there anymore. I don't want these kind of situations happening. This is what happens
Yeah.
when you're in useless places fighting useless wars, whether it's politically, diplomatically, or militarily. None of those three, you know, should be happening if it requires your presence there.
Right.
you know, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trade doesn't require that we're there. That can be handled with phone calls, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We don't need to go over there and see your facilities that you're sending me good gas from or good oil, whatever you want to call it. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't need to see the facilities as long as the quality's good. You know, great, you're still sending me good stuff. I don't need to come see how you're doing it. You're sending it to me. You do you. You do you. Let me buy shit. you know, I do
Yeah.
you. You do you. If your people get tired of it, I'm just saying, if your people get tired of it, maybe they're going to rise up one day. But hey, that's just speaking from
That's
experience. We're known to do that kind of shit.
not anymore, man.
We
They don't
have.
do that kind of shit anymore.
We
Yeah, I
have.
know. Yeah.
And we're prepared. We're prepared. Um, but yeah, that's a, give them a bit of advice and peace the fuck out. I mean, God,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know that there's an American there. Hopefully, there's not a bunch of Americans sitting around going, "Yeah, we need to go to war," because I don't think
I
so.
mean, there are, but
I think the
I
war
mean,
sentiment would
yeah.
probably be more around the level it was during World War II. I think you'd hear a lot more, "No, we don't need to be in another war over there,"
Yeah,
than
and that
you
is
would
what you're
hear.
hearing. Yeah.
So that's where we need to continue to listen. Or start listening to people who are saying that this time, like we, should have done in World War II to a certain extent. We weren't left a lot of choice. I understand. But we were also already buying and selling into those wars
Right.
in the interim, which we don't need to be doing now. We just don't. Stop selling
Yeah.
weapons. Stop selling advice. Stop selling training. Stop selling democracy. Democracy, democracy doesn't. It shouldn't come with a price or because of a price. Democracy's got to be something that takes root in the people and drives them to create it amongst
Yeah.
themselves.
Or I mean, if they don't want that, then so be it.
Right.
That's
If
not, you
they,
know what I mean. Like
if they're
that's not
good,
our business.
right? They've been fine for many years with how they do things there. before we had all this global interaction, all this open borders bullshit where we're just coming and going in each other's countries and able to get there quickly, and you know they were doing their thing. They were doing their thing for many years, and it was working for them. Maybe maybe it didn't feel good,
Yeah,
maybe people weren't
yeah.
happy about it, but you weren't doing anything to stop it, or if you were, it wasn't working. So maybe you need to revamp your plan. Um, that's on them. We've got what we've got here going. Um, Michael Vega had said earlier, I feel exactly like he feels exactly like he did when the North Korea tried to shoot a missile. Ed says, how many sizes do you think Shapiro's little Tic Tac has grown? God, Ed, always with the beautiful
Yeah.
imagery. Put the vape away and smoke a cigar. That's
Yeah,
a
I don't
huge
have a
one.
cigar, so
Ed says if his
I've also
only
never really understood like cigars. I don't know. I guess I never smoked one correctly, so I don't get it. So
Ed,
anyway, continue.
Ed said if his old lady wasn't carrying my kid right now, he might be able to knock her up.
I think he means Ben Shapiro's wife.
Yeah, I think
His
so. And
sister's tits are nice, Midgepy. That's true.
are they visible to the public?
Yes, yeah, you can. I have searched for them
Like
and found them with
exposed, or
success.
they're just
Yes.
there?
No, like her nudes were leaked. Yeah,
And why did she have nudes?
because she's a female
What
in
kind of
the current
sister
year.
is she?
I know, right?
Wait, does that means she's Jewish? Probably, right?
Right.
Oh,
Which means that she probably sold them to somebody.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm, mm. Well, it's good for the
Oy vey,
it's
as
good
they
for the
say.
subscriber base, right?
Yeah.
Oy vey, follow us. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, John. I mean, everybody's talking all this stuff about war. Why don't they just let it go? I don't know. Um,
Yep.
is it does it require that Trump shut the fuck up?
I don't think it's him that's really calling the shots like that.
Well, well, it, well. I guess what I mean by shut the fuck up is like, okay, just drop it now. Just you've said what you wanted to say about it. You've laid out what possible repercussions are. Now just
Yeah.
drop it and let sleeping dogs lie. If they're bold enough to do something, yes, we'll have to answer. Otherwise, let them calm down and go do their thing. Right? Is that
Yeah, I mean that
possible?
would be nice, but unfortunately that's just not how Trump works. So I don't think that's gonna happen.
So if I don't know. All right. Yeah, I could do with a lot less posturing on this one. I want to see that back down because that is going to be the significant key to making something happen. And we need to focus on any threats they've made. Of course, they've made threats on U.S. targets. Another diplomat in a roundabout way made threats on Trump targets around the world. Um, you know, um, and he even spoke out and said, I mentioned this on Ed's show. He pointed out, he addressed Americans and said, it isn't the U.S. we have a problem with, it's Trump. Trump's the problem here.
Yeah.
And then, along with that, put out this list of properties from, the U.S. and places in Europe that has Trump's name on it. Now, of course, we find out that there's an $80 million bounty on Trump's head, which is probably just propaganda, just stupidity.
Yeah.
Because I mean, $80 million isn't much for Trump's head. Whenever you know you get
Hmm.
more if you could just steal Air Force One and sell it back,
Yeah,
on the
yeah, we were
black
talking about
market.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So
You'd have to part that out though. You'd have to go to a chop shop with that because you can't just sell the plane as it is because they're gonna find you and take it back and probably kill you a
No,
number of ways.
you do it like they do the AR-15s. Is you sell two magazines, and in one magazine you sell everything but one part to the AR-15, and in the other magazine you sell that one part.
Yeah.
So and then a person has all they need to put together an AR-15 and be done. I've looked in the back of these magazines and been like, wait, you can do that? You
Yeah.
can do that?
Yeah,
Wow.
because you can't ship it through the mail, like with it being fireable.
Right.
You can only ship parts.
But
So,
I would hope that there's got to be others. I think that I've heard rumor of others that be like they only sell small amounts of the parts in like bundles so that they don't you can circumvent actually selling a gun that's going
yeah,
to have to
that
be
too.
tracked or background checked, kind of
Hmm.
thing. I don't know if it's true, but I would think that you would get caught doing that in a magazine. Somebody would raise a red flag, but if it's within the law, I guess you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. It's all stupid right now. It really is. I don't know if it's is it just a big diversionary tactic to take away from the impeachment to get us distracted there while they try and get it dismissed? Or was it a serious situation that it was like this is the only opportunity we may ever get to take out this guy? And as
Yeah.
we found out on Ed's show, there was an Iraqi instigator in that vehicle as well. So
Yeah.
two targets were taken out that were of high value.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do in a
Yep.
case like that? Mr. President, we have 2 hours to deal with this situation. We have a window. What do we do?
Yeah. I mean, I understand from their perspective why they would want to do it, but at the same time, we shouldn't even be there at all. So,
Yeah,
I mean, since we are, I completely understand why it was done. Doesn't mean
yeah,
I agree with it,
yeah.
but I
No,
totally get it.
no. So yeah, I mean, there's so much. Everybody's asking questions about it, and when it's all said and done, I wish they would just come out with that level of transparency because I honestly believe that's what happened. And if they would just say, "Look, this happened. These two people came together, and we had an
Hmm.
opportunity to deal with future terror."
Yeah.
The American people would have digested that a lot better than, you know, well, unsurety. What could be it
Yeah.
could amount to unsurety. That's the only thing I want from it. I I I will agree with them if they call it justified. I'm right there with them. If so, but I don't want it to go into a further escalation. Uh, which is like is being talked about. That's the part I don't like because then people get stupid. That's when the
Yeah.
stupid can happen. It's like, what's the next? It's like watching Paranormal Activity. You don't know if that scene is just going to be a scene, but you're looking
Such
through
a
the
good series of movies.
right. But you're just watching
Yeah.
every bit of the screen is like on this rotation. You're just where's the next movement going to be? Right. I've got yes. It's like where's the next movement going to be? What am I going to miss if I'm not watching that part of the screen? Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's what we are. We're like, okay, is something unexpected going to happen? What's the next headline that's going to come out? That's where the posturing puts you. Like we did with North Korea.
Hmm.
While a lot of people, yes, a lot of people are like, it's bluff and bravado. Just sit back and relax. Everything will be fine. That's not necessarily possible for a whole nother schism of people who are like, well, yeah, but this is going to affect these people around me, right? There's going to
Yeah.
be direct impacts on them if this were to happen. And when you've got to be like, oh, I've got to protect these people from something that I can't protect them from anyway, you know,
Yeah.
it creates anxiety within a country. It just does.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I mean, I'm not. Again, I'm not. I'm not. Trying to be the Chicken Little or anything. I'm just like, everybody, calm down. You've said your piece. Let's not.
Yeah.
Let's keep it at posturing before it becomes a shoving match. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I mean definitely. We've already, I mean, yeah, we've already been in the Middle East for ever since what? I mean, technically 2000, 2001, 2000, late 2001, early 2002. We've been there before. We had the Gulf War in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. We had, I mean, there was all kinds of shit going on over there. I'm trying to think what else there was. But no, I mean, we've been over there for a while. We've put our fingers in their pie, if you will, for quite a while.
Since the middle of the 1900s,
Yeah,
we've been over there solidly, right? I mean, we want to control what's going on over there, though we've never really gained any sort of control, other than, I guess, if you want to call it control, with countries like Saudi Arabia, who are technically allies, but
yeah.
it just seems like to me countries like Saudi Arabia just uses an opportunity to get away with murder, um,
Hmm.
and that's that. Um, so yeah, I don't see any good reason to be still be over there. Nothing's ever been solved by our hand that's of any value other than monetarily from oil, and that's not worth dime.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's no like motivation other than profit.
People are
Like that's really it.
right. Look at this, and I'll call it a panic. And I understand that a social media will, we can attribute it to the vocal minority, but you have to constitute it as a panic if it's a discussion that's being heard loud enough for like a boomer to hear it, right? That about the draft. I mean,
Yeah,
good God, do we? I don't want to. We did this with 9/11. We had this scare about the draft. People were like, oh, they're going to draft people to go to war, go to war, go to war,
yeah,
drafting people. We did the same thing during the first two Gulf Wars. I mean, both of them. Um, I don't. Yeah. Do we have any good reason to be doing any of this shit, John? I mean, is there a justifiable reason outside of oil
no,
control?
right. That's not even a justifiable reason, in my opinion. It's not. There is no justifiable reason. I mean, the only justifiable war is a defensive war,
Uh,
and so the argument always, from the neocon like Warhawk side is we either fight them over there or they'll come over here and we have to fight them here. Might as well go over there and stop them before they get here. Which I mean, I can see from that point of view what they mean, but also at the same time, stop fucking with them, and they won't necessarily want to come over here.
well, what about that geopolitical perspective? That we're so mired over there that we can't leave. Like we can't remove ourselves from the grand scale picture over there.
Yeah, I mean that seems to we did get ourselves kind of stuck. I think, and that I think the big concern is that if we leave, that will leave a vacuum for Russia to come in. Which I mean, they tried that back in the '80s, right? Invading Afghanistan. That didn't turn out so well for them. And they're not any stronger now than they were then. In fact, they're probably way weaker militarily. So I don't think they're going to have a lot of success. Now, I mean, they can play the whole proxy game like we are, which they do. But I just don't see it working. I mean, I think that we should, yeah, let them put themselves in the same position we're in, you know, but let them pump a whole bunch of money over there and, let them get a bunch of people killed instead of our people. And then they'll pull out in, 30 years or whatever because it's just not worth it.
Do you do you think that the vacuum is the biggest reason, or is Israel the biggest reason? Um,
I mean, yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think, yeah, it is mostly to protect, Israel, stopping, people from invading Israel more than anything else, or just wiping Israel off the face of the planet. But and then it's also resource denial to our quote unquote enemies. If we have the oil that's over there, then that means that our enemies don't have that oil.
Well, is there any reason for us to continue to be beholding to Israel enough to stay there protecting Israel?
I mean, so we kind of created the state of Israel, at least as it is now. Um, and we did say that, we meaning the government, the U.S. government, said that we will protect you and make sure that you get to stay being a country. Which means that it's very difficult for us to stop doing that from a diplomatic standpoint. It'd be very, very difficult. Obviously, that would be ideal, is to just say, hey, exist on your own, on your own merits. And if you can't, then oh well. But I mean, at this point, it's again we're too stuck in over there that I don't know. It would be almost impossible to extract ourselves from
Well,
it.
well, does the same hold true in as far as the vacuum that could occur? So, is would Russia still be at a point where they would try to physically take over those countries with the geopolitical climate and power that is out there in the present day? But also, I mean, are we more mired financially with Israel than we are from a bodyguard standpoint?
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Two separate
Um,
questions there, but
yeah, yeah.
the
Well, the
two options.
first one, I don't think Russia is physically able to, but through proxies, yeah, they can. They can do kind of the same thing we did with like regime change. Put somebody in charge who we like, and then when they don't, play ball anymore, you just replace them. That is well within their means to do. Um, and then the other question with the what was it? Something about being a
If we're
bodyguard.
more financially tied to Israel, and
Mm.
I'm sorry, let me say financially slash culturally tied to Israel, or militarily tied to Israel. Which do you think is the biggest obstacle?
Well, I mean, the militarily one for sure, and financially also. Militarily, because I mean, our Navy SEALs go and train with the Israeli commandos. Our military has a very tight relationship with theirs. I mean, that being said, that doesn't mean that that can't stop. You know, um, but then financially, yeah. I mean, we pump a lot of money into them, and I'm not 100% sure on what we get back because I'm not very well versed in our relationship with Israel. That's why I usually avoid kind of talking
Right.
about it, just because I'm
Right.
not, well educated in that. But I mean, obviously, there's some reason why we want to keep them around. I mean, I'm thinking it was just a foothold, into the Middle East that we can use to, further involve ourselves there. Because we have Israel and we have Saudi Arabia technically as our allies in the Middle East, and then so we're able to secure oil and resources and places to land planes and station troops and that sort of thing to then move on as a staging ground to move on to other countries in the
Right.
Middle East.
Well,
So I mean, it just has to be a change in thinking to get out. That's the only way to do it. Is just to say, well, we don't need to be there anymore. But convincing war hawks not to go into another war is going to be impossible.
well, is it possible that the real obstacle actually is cultural? I mean, because we have such a large Jewish community in this country. Um, is a lot of what we tolerate or deal with in our workings with Israel based on the fact that our government appeases that sector of our population
Hmm.
because of the strong Jewish ties between Israel and, of course, the Jewish population here.
You have no idea.
I mean, that's I don't, that would require a lot
Yeah.
of delving in for me. I mean, but I guess it feeds into this, this idea that the Jewish community is where a lot of the money and wealth in this country is at. I won't say money; I'll say wealth.
Yeah.
Hollywood, for instance, is an example that people will throw up about the large amount of the Jewish community that is involved in movies and the film industry, et cetera, whatever. So that again is, when a lot of money is involved in any group, these kind of political diplomatic decisions can be made. Am I not correct? That um, keep us
Yeah.
in a country that we're not really gaining anything from. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to look more into that, I think. Which I don't plan to anytime in the near future. But
Ed says Israel has naked pictures of Nancy Pelosi and is threatening to leak them.
good
I can see that.
God, yeah,
We should
yeah,
have Midget
appease
on.
them.
Midget knows. I think Midget knows a little bit about this It could answer some of this question.
Yeah.
Because when it's all said and done, I don't think Israel needs us militarily anymore. I really don't. Like, if everybody wanted to gang up on them that's over there, I think there's still a lot of world community that's closer to them and are more impacted by those things happening that will step in and catch Israel's back. You know,
Maybe. I mean, they're kind of surrounded by enemies.
sure, but that all we have their back. There are people strong enough to have their back against the enemies that are around them. I think
Yeah.
hopefully it wouldn't be Russia necessarily, but I think Russia would be hard pressed to institute anything into Israel, that Israel didn't want. But I don't know. We need to find a way out of there. Israel is the linchpin. I could see us
Yeah.
having perfectly good ways out of all these other countries. Just just untie the laces, get everybody out, all citizens. But Israel just keeps being that sticking point, and I don't buy into being over there constantly because of Israel.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's my thoughts on the Middle East for the week, and unless something new happens, and then we just have to talk about
For
it
a
on Friday.
lifetime, hopefully.
I would love
'Cause
for that to
goddamn.
be. I would love for that to happen. Right? That would
Yeah.
be awesome. Never have to talk about the Middle East again because nothing they're doing impacts us. You know, worst case, I want our emergency plan to be: we have plenty of oil if we can't continue to buy it from over there at a decent price.
Yeah.
That's what I want the conversation to be about the Middle East.
Yep.
So, hang on tight though, because you know it's going to be a fun little ride up to if nothing
Yeah.
happens, it's still going to be a fun ride. It's to be like, ooh, look at all the speculation.
Yeah. Something could have happened. Yeah.
Swimming in a sea of speculation. I love it. Anyway, so John, I'm going to go ahead and say that I am tired of you listening to me.
Yeah. I would
And,
agree.
uh, and I was going to ask you, folks have ways to find us. They have things, right?
They
Can you
do.
tell them about that?
Yes. I will. I would be happy to do so. In fact, if you scroll down, right down here, this way, this direction, you'll see a like button and a subscribe button, and a little bell that's over there that'll let you know when we're going live. So make sure you hit all that kind of stuff. And then further down there, we've got links. We have links to our Twitter, which is at the Gen Gap P. We have links to our Discord server, which is a whole lot of fun. And we have a link to freedomscoop.com, which is where you can find our work. You can find J. Edgar's work. You can find Stephen Ignoramus's work,
Mm-hmm.
and probably some other people too. And we've also got merchandise on there. So we've got this fancy shirt that you see here. Uh, and we've got a promo code down there as well. The promo code GenGap, so that you can get 15% off of your purchase, which is awesome. Makes it much more affordable. So make sure you go and do all that kind of stuff.
And if you haven't already, hit the like button. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button.
Do it.
Yes, these are
Like
important.
it.
So we'll be coming back again on Friday for another rousing episode of the Generational Gap. We will be hitting the airwaves at our usual time of 8:30 p.m. Is that how you would say that? It's the best way I
Yes,
can
and
think
it's
of.
also in the Eastern time zone, the one and only legitimate time zone.
Yeah. So 8 p.m. est, 8 p.m. est.
Well, 8:30 Pumist.
8:30 Pumist. Yes, my bad.
Yeah.
Forget I'm here. Then of course we'll be back again on the following Monday with another one of these shooting the shit episodes. Until then, hopefully there will be plenty to shoot the shit about, but nothing too spectacular. I don't love the fireworks that they produce. John,
Yeah.
have yourself a good one. We'll see you on Friday, folks. Thanks for stopping by and seeing us. Thanks as usual for taking part in the chat. You guys make us great, and you know. We're pretty fucking great. I mean, I'm just saying. So,
Yeah.
anyway, we're going to peace the hell out of here, and you guys have a good night. Take it easy.
Yep. See you guys.